Let's talk communication. Hello everyone, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I make videos to inspire you to be the star of your own life. I recently did a breakdown of The Breakup, the 2006 film with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn, and I have a full breakdown if you want to hear all my thoughts on this movie. However, I want to highlight two scenes in this movie that show feminine communication or masculine feminine communication so perfectly. This movie is amazing for relationship dynamics and things like that. It's a great movie and I go into this more in the full breakdown. But I really want to highlight these two scenes because I think that they're such a great example of masculine and feminine dynamics when they work well and when they don't. Now in the first scene, this is kind of like their initial breakup at the beginning of the movie. And if you notice, Brooke, played by Jennifer Aniston, is much more feminine minded. She's being very mothering, so she's more in her masculine energy in the relationship, but she has a very feminine core. Gary, played by Vince Vaughn, is actually a very masculine cored man, but he's caught up in his feminine because he's in his man-child era. He's not really grounded in his true masculine energy. However, their core energies are coming out in this argument where, in this case, Brooke is constantly going all over the place about what she's upset about because she's not actually getting to the root of what she's upset about. Gary is taking everything that she says literally. You're upset I'm not doing the dishes. Okay, I'll do the dishes. She's like, well, it's not about the dishes. He's like, well, you just said it was about the dishes. Which is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people think of the feminine as being more emotional. It's not that she's more emotional. She's just going all over the place. She's not going in one direction. Whereas the masculine is more linear. The feminine is more kind of like roundabout. It's got more, the feminine has more curves. What can I say, right? It's different communication styles. So they're not coming together. And at a certain point, it becomes this back and forth of Brooke not being able to express what she actually wanted, which was to feel appreciated. She ends up expressing that later on to a friend of hers because when she's talking to a feminine partner, she can express herself that way. Where when she's with him, she's not being as direct as he needs for that communication. He's also not paying attention to her trying to express that something's actually bothering her and not get so defensive and take things personal instead of listening to her. It's a very common thing in relationships. Men are expecting women to communicate the way that they communicate. Women are expecting men to communicate the way they communicate. They're not actually meeting in the middle and figuring out how to communicate with each other. In our society, we tend to default to assuming that the masculine way of communicating, the directness, is always the right answer. In some cases it is. In some cases you need to have a very masculine communication. In some cases feminine communication works better. Depends on the situation. I do find it ironic that many men will complain about women and the way that they communicate or the way that their emotions are, things like that. When in reality, you don't want someone who's just like you. If you wanted someone who was just like you and who communicated just like you, date a man. But then when women do communicate like men, they're too masculine. Unfortunately, that's just the mentality of our society. Take a look at this initial argument. Brooke is shut down. Gary's getting defensive. They're not coming together. They're just not communicating with each other.
I busted my ass all day cleaning this house and then cooking that meal, and I worked today. It would be nice if you said thank you and helped me with the dishes.
Fine. I'll help you do the damn dishes.
Oh, come on. You know what? No, that's not what I want.
You just said that you want me to help you do the dishes.
I want you to want to do the dishes.
Why would I want to do dishes? Why?
See, that's my whole point.
Let me see if I'm following this, okay? Are you telling me that you're upset because I don't have a strong desire to clean dishes?
No, I'm upset because you don't have a strong desire to offer to do the dishes.
I just did.
After I asked you! You're not getting this, Gary. Okay, it's not about the lemons, it's not about the flowers, it's not about the dishes. It's just about, how many times do I have to drop hints about the ballet?
You know I can't Brooke, come here. All I ask, Brooke, is that you show a little bit of appreciation. That I just get 20 minutes to relax when I come home instead of being attacked with questions and nag the whole damn time.
You think that I nag you?
That's all you do!
Fine, great, do whatever the hell you want. You leave your socks all over this house, dress like a pig, play your stupid ass video game. I don't care, I'm done.
What?
I am done! I don't deserve this. I really do not deserve this. I deserve somebody who gives a shit. I'm not spending one more second of this life with some inconsiderate prick!
Now, towards the end of the movie, Gary and Brooke have a moment where Brooke really fully lets her guard down and shows her vulnerability. She is so beautiful in this moment. And I'm not saying that your open-hearted vulnerability is going to look exactly like the way that Brooke expresses it in this movie. You don't necessarily have to have tears. You don't necessarily have to do things exactly this way. However, she's so open-hearted and vulnerable in this moment. And that vulnerability is so beautiful. And if you notice that in this scene, Gary is drawn to her. She's literally trying to push him away because in her mind she's done. But it's that open-hearted vulnerability of expressing what she really feels and what she really wants. Like, she's gotten to the root of what is going on. She's not just grasping at, oh, well, it's this, well, it's that, it's this, it's that, whatever. She's still expressing herself. She's still saying what it is that is bothering her, but she's gotten to the root of it and she's fully open-hearted and expressing it. And Gary cannot help but be drawn into that, even though it's making him uncomfortable. And he admits at one point that, you know, that was like the lowest moment of his life, was seeing how much he'd hurt her. It was hard for him, it was painful, but it still drew him in because he was so unbelievably magnetized to the beauty of her vulnerability. And we're taught in our society that vulnerability is weak. It's not weak. It is terrifying for most people to be vulnerable. If it's terrifying for you to do something and you do it anyway, pretty brave. So start thinking about vulnerability as a strength. Letting your guard down and being vulnerable is a strength. So take a look at how beautifully Brooke expresses her vulnerability in this scene.
Our entire relationship, I've gone above and beyond for you, for us. I've cooked, I've picked your shit up off the floor, I've laid your clothes out for you like you were a 4-year-old. I support you, I supported you, your work. If we ever had dinner, or anything, I make the plans. I take care of everything. And I just don't feel like you appreciate any of it. I don't feel you appreciate me. And all I want is for you to just show me that you care.
Why didn't you just say that to me?
Gary, I've tried.
Yeah, but never like that. You might have said some things that you meant to imply that, Brooke, but I'm not a mind reader.
It wouldn't matter. You are who you are. Just leave me alone, okay? Right now. Just shut my door.
Listen.
All right, Gary, just please, just leave the room.
Listen to me.
Gary, I don't want to be near you right now. Please, just shut the door. Please.
Now, can you see the difference between, in the beginning, she was upset with Gary, what he was doing, and she was closed off. She was coming up with all of these excuses and all these reasons why she was upset with him, but not getting to the root of what was going on and not expressing how that made her feel when he did what he was doing. She was shut down. She was the mother. She was essentially bossing him around. Whereas when she was crying and vulnerable, she even said, like, she was laying out his clothes like a 4-year-old. Like, she admitted she was mothering him, but it was such a beautiful open vulnerability. And these two scenes are such a beautiful representation of like closed-hearted, more of a masculine, more of like a controlling mother kind of a way to argue with someone, and like a really open-hearted, vulnerable way of expressing the way that what someone's doing is hurting you. Unfortunately, in this movie, Brooke waited until she was absolutely done with the relationship to let that vulnerability shine, which in reality for most of us is easier, because if you already know you're out and you're vulnerable and he rejects you, well, it doesn't matter, you're already out. It's much more effective to be able to communicate vulnerably in the relationship, like before you're at that moment where you're done. Now, I would also say, if somebody can't handle your vulnerability, if someone uses your vulnerability against you, it's important for you to know that you have your own back, that you will walk away, that you will know that you deserve better. But you won't know if someone can handle your vulnerability unless you show it to them. And if they do use it against you, if they do try to harm you, and I will say this goes for men or women, how men and women express their vulnerability may look different, but in general, like if you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody and you let your guard down and you can't express your true needs and who you truly are because the other person just can't handle that, it's better to know that sooner rather than later, because you do really want to invest in a relationship with someone knowing that they're not going to be able to handle your vulnerability, knowing that they're not going to be able to handle who you truly are, what your true needs are. Not saying it's easy. However, I thought that these two scenes just did such a beautiful job of really capturing the difference between closed-hearted communication and open-hearted communication. I actually have a masterclass in feminine communication that dives into the topic of, you know, masculine and feminine communication and how to communicate with a masculine partner from your feminine energy. Online, if you want to check that out, it dives into this topic deeper. I just really love the way that this film portrayed this dynamic, and I have a full breakdown of the film. It's an amazing film. Highly recommend you check out the whole thing. So yeah, if you have any thoughts or suggestions, comments, requests, anything, let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you, and I love your suggestions. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and be sure you subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.